And increased access to loans and rent relief is on the way. Check this out.
Businesses who spent between $20,000 and $1.5 million in total payroll in 2019 will now be eligible. This is money entrepreneurs and employers can use to cover operational costs and help with other immediate needs. Businesses and commercial property owners are also facing specific challenges because of COVID-19, so we plan on introducing the Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance.
But when will the details of that come, and will it be enough to keep so many businesses from closing their doors for good? The Minister of Small Business, Mary Ng, joins us to talk about that. Plus, long-term care home crisis. Will the federal government offer more support tonight when the Prime Minister is set to speak to the premiers? We'll speak to Quebec's finance minister, who joins us on that. And Andrew Scheer is calling out China for causing the COVID-19 pandemic, and Mr. Scheer is also accusing Prime Minister Trudeau of siding with communist China's regime by trusting the WHO. Is this going too far? We'll take it up with the press gallery. Rona Ambrose, the former interim Conservative leader and former health minister, joins us. This is Power Play. Let's get to the players. Major news from the government today, more support for small businesses, especially on the pressing issue of rent. The Canada Emergency Business Account Loan Program, that's the first issue, is being expanded so more businesses are eligible. Companies that have a payroll between $20,000 and $1.5 million at this time last year are now eligible. And as the Prime Minister just said, they're now going to introduce something called a Commercial Rent Assistance Program. It's being implemented, but there are no details. Will that be enough to save struggling businesses? Let's find out some details with the Minister of Small Business, Mary Ng. She joins us from Toronto. Great to have you with us. Minister, I hope you and the family are doing well and your loved ones. First, let's start with the first program. Why did your government expand the $40,000 loan program? I know $10,000 is forgivable. What was the problem? Were too many people falling through the cracks?
Well, we were listening to businesses, as I always do, and the last time you and I talked about this, many businesses had said to us that they just needed to also access that program, which is why we decided to expand the criteria so that more businesses can take advantage of getting access to that cash flow that they need to deal with the operating expenses that is just so urgent for them.
You know, Minister, it's good that businesses are listening, or the governments are listening to businesses. I appreciate that, but it seems like every day you guys just keep widening and widening the criteria for all the programs. For example, this applies to businesses that had a $20,000 on their payroll in 2019. But there are businesses, for example, that have launched in late 2019 that aren't eligible. There are businesses that only pay themselves with a dividend. They're not eligible. Why not just expand it for all those businesses?
Well, we've been listening to businesses all the way along, and I think that what you are seeing from our government is that we do listen and that we are adapting and we are making the changes as we are hearing from them. We certainly don't want businesses falling through the cracks. The whole point right now is to help keep our businesses, help save those jobs, whether it's the wage subsidy or helping businesses pay for those very necessary costs. That's what this is about, and I think what you're seeing here is a government being very responsive by listening to businesses across the country.
Minister, the Prime Minister talked about this commercial rent assistance benefit program. It's supposed to cover April's rent. When are we going to get the details? Can you give us a sense? Would this, for example, help with businesses that said, I can't pay, I've already shuttered my business? Will it be retroactive?
It's going to cover rent for April, May, and June. And we will get those details out as soon as we possibly can. Of course, we need to work with the provinces and territories because rent is in their jurisdiction, but we're working as quickly as we can with with our partners here. And it is, again, listening to businesses, because one of the most significant expenses for some of our businesses is, in fact, that overhead, which is rent. So whether you get access to loans with some of the cash flow expenditures and also this rent support, the whole point, again, is to help keep our businesses stay in business and weather through this difficult time.
Yeah, but why not? Why give it to the landlords? I spoke to Dan Kelly of the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses. There is a concern from small businesses that you're giving it to the landlord. How do they know that the landlord's going to pass on the savings to them? Why not give it directly to the small businesses so they can pay their rent?
well, we want to make sure that that there is as ease as best as we can to get the programs out to businesses. So no different than the wage subsidy program. You have to pay your employees. You are going to get the wage subsidy as a business because you need to pay your employees. So we'll have more details to be able to provide on the emergency rent assistance program. But no, I want businesses to understand that what this really is about is to help you with those costs and those expenses.
I'll press you one more time. Are these details going to come tomorrow after the next day? Can you give us a timeline?
Well, we're working pretty hard to get it out as quickly as we can because I know how urgent the situation is. I've talked to lots and lots of businesses, so I understand that they're waiting to get the answers and get the information. So we will get them out as soon as we possibly can. That's my commitment to all our businesses.
Minister, does it need parliamentary legislation, or can the government do it without parliamentary cycle?
We don't need parliamentary. We don't need the parliamentary cycle to do this.
Oh, interesting. Okay. President Trump, you're the Minister of International Trade as well. As President Trump signaled he wants to open the U.S.-Canada border soon. He's already sent a letter to governors about a step plan. He's got a big announcement coming in about 45 minutes, 6 p.m. Eastern time. If the president asks, will your government comply and open the Canadian border?
Well, I think I'm going to quote the Deputy Prime Minister, who earlier said that the decision about Canada's borders are going to be made by Canadians. And Canada and the U.S. are, of course, have a special relationship as neighbors. Our supply chains continue to stay open. The essential movement of goods and services continue. But both of our countries have to be interested and concerned about making sure that that job one is the safety of our people.
Okay, but just real quick on that, and I totally appreciate that. They're going to outline a plan as to when they have a step-by-step approach to open. Will your government soon be revealing a plan when, maybe not the timing exactly, but how we can start opening step-by-step our economy?
Well, I think you heard, the Prime Minister talk about this. We need to be sure that we are flattening the curve in the country, and that we are ensuring that Canadians stay safe and that they stay healthy. We're working, of course, with the provinces and the territories on this. I am doing this with my colleagues as well, and talking to businesses all the time. And we're gonna continue to have to do this work in an effort to help our businesses stay intact during this very difficult period and get on a road when it is safe to do so.
Manitoba Premier Brian Pallister got emotional today, and I want to show it to you. He was talking about the impact of COVID-19 on long-term care homes. And I want to show it to you because I know the premiers will be speaking tonight with the Prime Minister. Many of them want help for long-term care. Again, provincial territorial responsibility, but public health is federal. Here's what he said.
I feel a special affinity for the situation that is being faced by seniors right now. They see the reports of deaths and illness in seniors' homes in other parts of the country, and it scares them, and they're worried about that. They know the sense of isolation that they're experiencing right now. They'd rather have a hug than a Skype. So we all feel that, I think. And I think it's important that people step up. And in particular, I think with our seniors, our vulnerable people, people who are living with a disability and people who are aged and infirm. It's very, very important that Manitobans remember them in their thoughts and in their actions whenever they can possibly help.
Clearly an emotional moment. Will your government be offering provinces money to help pay for long-term care workers to try to help those horrific situations?
Well, I share the Premier's sentiment, and my heart goes out to seniors, families, particularly, those who have lost loved ones. Everyone, all of us can understand this. It is part of the conversation that the Prime Minister is going to have with the First Ministers and the Premiers and territorial leaders. And we are, of course, going to need to, support this effort. I know that my colleagues in the Health Minister and the Seniors Minister are steadfastly working urgently with their provincial counterparts so that we can provide the assistance by working together with our provincial and territorial counterparts, for our seniors. I mean, I understand the emotions of that because who can't? And they do need all of our help. And I know that the Prime Minister and the Premiers are going to be talking about that this evening.
Right. Well, I think there's going to be a request for money that's coming. All right, Minister Ng, I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Evan. Good to talk to you, and all the best to your family as well. Stay safe.
Appreciate that.